Okay, so today we're talking about power, not just, business power, but actual literal electricity. We're going to design something that sounds really complex, but I promise, by the end of this, you'll see exactly how all the pieces fit together. So let's do it. Let's build a power plant right here on paper.
For so many of us, flipping a switch on the wall is something we don't even think twice about. But in many parts of the world, that simple act doesn't guarantee light. It's a reality that completely shapes daily life for millions, from how a shopkeeper runs their business to how kids can study at night.
And here's the fascinating part, the real kicker. The problem isn't a lack of solar panels or turbines. The tech to generate clean, local power, it exists. It's here, and it works incredibly well. The actual barrier is, well, it's something else entirely.
So what is it then? If the technology is all ready to go, what's stopping the lights from turning on for everybody? That is the big question we're going to unpack right now.
It all starts with really getting a grip on the scale of the power problem and what it looks like on the ground.
Let's just take Nigeria as a perfect example. But honestly, this is a story you see across the continent. You have huge communities with no connection to a national grid at all. Others might have a connection, but the supply is so unreliable it's almost useless. So what happens? Businesses are forced to rely on these noisy, expensive, polluting diesel generators just to keep their doors open. And this creates a really simple but powerful market opportunity. People urgently need electricity, and believe me, they are absolutely willing to pay for it.
And the technological solution to all this is actually pretty straightforward. In fact, it's already here.
It's called a mini-grid. And the best way to think about it is like a tiny, self-contained power plant for a specific village or a local market, or maybe a few businesses. It's usually powered by solar panels and batteries. And, this is the key, it operates completely independently from that unreliable national grid. It's a direct, elegant, and effective solution.
So, if we have a clear problem and a clear solution, why aren't these mini-grids popping up everywhere? Well, this brings us to the real bottleneck. And it has nothing to do with engineering. It's all about finance.
The real gap is money. It's the financing. It's the cash needed to actually build these systems in the first place. And this is exactly where our power plant on paper comes in. It's about building a financial structure that can attract the capital to get the job done.
To bridge that financial gap, you need a very specific kind of tool. A specialized vehicle, you could say, that's designed to carry a project like this from just an idea to a fully functioning power plant.
That tool is called a Special Purpose Vehicle, or SPV. Now, don't let the name intimidate you. It's really just a new company that is created for one and only one specific job: to finance, build, and operate one particular mini-grid project. It exists for no other reason. That's its entire purpose in life.
So how does this work in practice? Think of the SPV like a protective box. First, you create this new, separate company. That's the box. Then, you put all the project's assets inside it. The contracts, the permits, the equipment, the whole shebang. Investors, they fund the box directly. Now, the genius of this is that the project is what they call ring-fenced. This means if the project fails, the loss is contained inside that box. It can't leak out and affect any other investments. It perfectly isolates the risk, which makes it a much, much safer and cleaner deal for investors.
Okay, so now that we have our special vehicle, what does it actually take to build this financial power machine? Well, first up, you need capital. And the amount of capital you need is high. I mean, really high. We're talking about the cost of all the solar panels, industrial-sized batteries for 24/7 power, all the distribution lines, the smart meters, and of course the cost of installation. This is a serious infrastructure investment.
This creates a really specific financial profile. A huge cost right up front, followed by incredibly steady and predictable income for years to come. Why? Because people pay for electricity every single day. In finance, they call this an asset-heavy model. It's a lot like building an apartment complex. Super expensive to build, but then it generates reliable rent checks for decades. It's perfect for investors who are looking for those kinds of stable, long-term returns.
But, of course, this isn't risk-free. Not at all. You're dealing with a mountain of legal permits and regulations that can change. There's political risk. The power sector is always a sensitive topic. Plus, you've got the huge risk of that upfront investment and the challenge of earning money in one currency when you were funded in another. That financial structure has to be really robust to withstand all those pressures.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, the crucial point is this. The future of solving this problem isn't just about technology. It's about structure.
This quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. Africa does not lack sunlight, it lacks structured power systems. I mean, think about that. The resource is abundant.
and it's free. The real bottleneck is our ability to build investable, reliable, and scalable systems to actually harness it.
And that's where the potential here becomes absolutely massive. This SPV model isn't a one-off trick. There are thousands of communities just in Nigeria that need this. You can take this entire structure, this blueprint, and replicate it across Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, and beyond. It's a model that finally connects the three essential pieces of the puzzle: the capital from investors, the technology from engineers, and the communities who need the power. And this brings us to the single most important takeaway from this whole thing. The financial engineering, the legal framework, the SPV, that structure, it is every bit as important as the solar panels themselves. Because structure is what transforms a good idea into a real, fundable, and operational asset.
So that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We just built a power plant on paper by focusing on its financial architecture. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other massive, seemingly unsolvable problems in infrastructure, healthcare, maybe even education are not actually waiting for some new invention, but are simply waiting for the right person to design the right structure?